Robert had lived in that house for 42 years. He built the porch himself. He planted the oak tree the year his daughter was born. But he had no idea this porch would be the last place he ever felt truly home. Then came the phone call. His son Mark said it gently. "Dad, it's just for a little while, just until you're back on your feet." That little while was about to become something far more permanent. A little while turned into forever the day they signed the paperwork at Willowbrook Care Home, and Robert realized no one was planning on him coming back. No one told him this signature would be the beginning of the end. At first he told himself it was for the best. His knees weren't what they used to be. Maybe his kids were right, but deep down, something about this didn't sit right. But then the visits got shorter. Then they stopped altogether. And then, one week, they stopped coming at all. One Tuesday, a nurse mentioned, almost in passing, that his daughter Claire had called, asking about next steps for the house. Next steps? He hadn't agreed to any next steps. Robert asked what she meant. The nurse looked uncomfortable and changed the subject. Her silence said more than any answer ever could. That night he couldn't sleep. He thought about the porch he built, the oak tree, 42 years of Sunday dinners, and how fast his children wanted to sell it all before he was even gone. 42 years of memories, and they were already planning to sell it. He found the paperwork in a drawer his son had helped him organize, a power of attorney, his signature on it, though he barely remembered signing anything that day. He didn't remember signing that, not really. He'd been groggy from a new medication that day, and Mark had been very patient, very reassuring, very insistent he just sign here. Suddenly, that whole afternoon looked very different. Robert didn't say a word to anyone. The next morning he asked the front desk for a phone book, and he called a solicitor. He wasn't going to let this go quietly. Her name was Priya Anand. She listened to every word he said, without interrupting once. For the first time in months, someone was actually listening to him. When he finished, she said simply, "Mr. Hale, you still have every right to your own life. Let's make sure it stays that way." That one sentence was about to change everything. Within 2 weeks, the power of attorney was revoked. Step 1 was done. But he wasn't finished yet. Within a month, the will was rewritten, quietly, carefully, with 2 independent witnesses and a doctor's letter confirming he was of sound mind. This time, no one would ever be able to say he didn't know what he was signing. His children never knew. They kept visiting less. Mark called twice that year, mostly to ask about the house paperwork. Claire sent a Christmas card signed, "Thinking of you," no return address. They had no idea what he'd already done. 18 months later, Robert passed peacefully, with a nurse named Delphine holding his hand. The same nurse who brought him crossword puzzles every single week without ever being asked. The person by his side wasn't who anyone would have expected. At the reading of the will, Mark and Claire sat side by side, already discussing how they'd split the house. They were about to get the shock of their lives. Then the solicitor read the actual document. The house sold quietly a year earlier. The savings placed in a trust. Nothing for Mark. Nothing for Claire. Every single cent. Gone. At least, gone from them. Everything. Every last cent. Left to the Willowbrook Care Fund and a separate account for one person, Delphine. The nurse who showed up every week with a crossword puzzle and no ulterior motive at all. The nurse who asked for nothing had just inherited everything. Robert's final note, read aloud by the solicitor, said only this: "I may have needed care. I never stopped needing to be seen. Thank you to the one person who saw me." It was the last thing he ever wanted them to understand. Mark and Claire got nothing but the silence in that room, and a lesson about what happens when you mistake a person's need for help for permission to take everything else. What would you have done in Robert's position? Tell me in the comments.